yes, the lack of due process around the deportation is a problem. The fact that this person ended up in jail as opposed to just living somewhere else, which most deportees do not end up in a prison unless they're being expelled from a U.S. prison, having been convicted here. That feels like a terrible problem. The fact that we are using this same tactic and this same approach against people, in some cases, who have done, by all public evidence, nothing more than express a strong opinion about a foreign policy issue in the United States, a woman who wrote an op-ed in a student newspaper and was then subject to these same deportation proceedings. All of this feels like kind of horrific new ground that we should not be treading. And so it makes me very uncomfortable. I think the way it makes a lot of Americans very uncomfortable. And this is, by the way, a totally different question from questions around, enforcement at the border, which is something, candidly, I think that the Biden administration did not do very well for the first few years and probably certainly needed to do more of. By the end, by the way, I think our record on enforcement and bringing the border numbers down in year 4 was quite strong. It was just too late to reverse the impression that we had let things lapse. So this is not a defense of how we handled things early. It's not a rejection of enforcement when people cross the border illegally. It is a question of how we treat people according to our laws, our basic principles once they are here. And I don't understand the defense of what they're doing.
In hindsight, are there things at the border you would have done differently?
Sure. I think by year 4, again, we had a good balance of providing legal, lawful pathways for people who wanted to come to the United States in an orderly way with an appropriate degree of security vetting, under established programs. I think we had expanded those in ways that reduced pressure on the border because some people believed there was another way to come here legally. We also ramped up and enhanced enforcement, including removal flights for people who came here illegally and were determined not to have a legitimate asylum claim. And we removed those people from the country, which I think we should have, which sent a signal that not only is there a legal way to do this, that you have a chance at least of getting selected for, but if you do this the wrong way, you're unlikely or less likely to be able to stay. I think that was the right balance and the right approach, and we didn't get to it until too late.